Hi, everybody. Happy Saturday. This is day 1584, and you just you just couldn't even believe what's going on behind the scenes. The dirty games going on um, against us, the Gold Star family of Richard Halliday. It's 1584 days since he was code red murdered. That's right, an internal ordered murder of a whistleblower soldier at Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas, the Siamese sister city of Juarez, Mexico, the U.S. Mexico border. This is an international case, and he was whistleblowing on the criminal trafficking and more because he was in communication with the Child Protective Services and with FBI Houston and with the CID and with Washington D.C. and the IG. The IG were all over the barracks because of Halliday, and there was audits going on and investigations, and this was in 2019. And the diversion from those, we believe, the investigations and the audits was the Walmart mass shooting. The Walmart mass shooting. They did something really, really bad, very bloody, and they used a special ed, um, with a severe mental condition, um, a self-harming autistic individual, that they really exploited. And this criminal group, and part of that, and that's Patrick Crucius, absolutely a long history of severe mental health condition and self-harming autism. What do I mean by that? 3 years old reports, and you can find it online. You don't have to believe me, but reports of him banging his head on the sidewalk multiple times, and where the father didn't even seem concerned because it just was happening often. And also being in special ed classroom and having to put him in a special location because he would start hitting himself and get frustrated and everything. And when all this happened with the Walmart mass shooting in 2019, and he was, a young man, um, there was, Judge Medrano needs to recuse himself. He has absolutely committed so many crimes in his court. Um, Civil rights of Patrick Crucius, who surrendered himself and surrendered himself twice. He went and surrendered himself. They turned him away. Then he surrendered himself again. Um, and they allowed him to be magistrated by an unlawful individual, Penny Hamilton, um, who allowed him to be interrogated without a lawyer. His rights have been so violated, and he was not surrounded by a medical team to evaluate him. Penny Hamilton immediately sealed the case. That very, 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 very seldom happens. And so there was, and who appointed Penny Hamilton? Illegally appointed Penny Hamilton, because that position that Penny Hamilton had required an elected judge, an elected official. And she wasn't. She was appointed by none other than Judge Sam Medrano. And so this is, all coming together, because when you think of what the borders are, has indicated now, his name is Tom Homan. He's been appointed the new border czar. And what he has indicated is that El Paso is the epicenter for the criminal trafficking. That means Fort Bliss, because the hundreds of thousands of children that were unaccompanied that came over uh, were registered on Fort Bliss and are now missing, and they're mostly dead, presumed mostly dead. So that happened on Fort Bliss. So with the new border czar, making sure that I can see any kind of remarks, um, with the any kind of comments, with the new border czar taking a stand against the crime that's happening at the border, and all of the illegal aliens. And I want to say, in the criminal group that targeted us, that targeted our key whistleblower witness, which, I just posted up an article and I didn't put that in there. I needed to put that in there. Maybe I'll go back and edit that. Key whistleblower witness for both cases, Judge Roger Rodriguez, and also, and you should have seen Angela Kachurga when all that broke years ago. She was like, "Is he helping you?" I said, "He's the whistleblower witness. That's a big help. That's a big help. Why are you angry that we have somebody stepping forward when everything is so stinky and the lies are all surrounding us, coming forward and telling the truth, officially, not to me, not to her, but to in official documents to the proper agencies and institutions. Why are you upset? Why are you upset?" And come to find out, she's part of this criminal group, y'all. She's part of this criminal group that includes Leilani Hart and Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, who targeted, who was used. They used these two individuals with criminal backgrounds, and I didn't put that in there too. There's so much to this story. You have to take it in step by step. But both Leilani Hart and Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia have very long criminal histories, and they both um, engaged in immigration fraud for personal gain from U.S. benefits. And I think that's very important for everyone to know, that they are what the new borders are. Tom Homan is talking about when he is saying that, these illegal immigrants, they're going to be caught. They're going to be caught. And I can point out two of them right now with their associates, because it's not just Leilani Hart, it's her associates. It's not just Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia. Well, they're in the same group and they're associates with each other. Um, both of them have associates also that have engaged in immigration fraud for personal gain from the U.S. benefits illegally using illegal methods, and being illegal, just being outright illegal. And so this is really important, because it was Veronica Escobar, the representative for El Paso, which includes Fort Bliss, that allowed them to be there with her very lax immigration policy, responses to anything, to the law, including FBI, well, El Paso FBI, Jesus Eddie Nieto Jr., and his wife is in intelligence on Fort Bliss, and yet they're very, very lax on the immigration, and of course allowed Leilani Hart and Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia the to stay in the country, to go back and forth, to wreak havoc criminally on our country, on our beautiful city of El Paso. and of course on our beautiful Fort Bliss. If you've never been there, it is really a beautiful city. I love El Paso and Fort Bliss, but they have wreaked havoc on it and try to make the world a worse place by all their crime and of course this enabling the criminal trafficking, the child porn, the the 325,000, and I heard up to 500,000, but I'm being very safe. It's hundreds of thousands of unaccompanied children that were registered there on Fort Bliss, and they're missing and they're presumed dead, trafficked, mostly dead. And I heard that their numbers were on their shirts, but some the numbers went on their body, and that what was going on, not even just the conditions, but what was happening inside the camps was really horrific, absolutely horrific. And our son told us, Mom, it's really bad. It's really bad. What's going on is really bad. And of course, he, great man of character, great soldier of character, took his duty very serious, aspired to be a CID, an Army CID agent, a special agent. He would have been a great one. He would have been a great one. And, but because of the likes of Representative Veronica Escobar, who continually attacked President Trump, which is really interesting since this happened in 2019 when all of the investigations were going on. And I think it was a quick, because it's so sloppy, the quick orchestration of the Walmart mass shooting. It's so sloppy once you look into it. If you like to, do a little investigation yourself, there, of course, the information is pretty controlled, but you can find some, just with a little bit of savvy, you can find information that absolutely debunks um, the media narrative that absolutely lied to us. They absolutely lied to us, and they continue to lie to us. They continue to push the narrative that it was, had racist motives. No, the motives were, what our evidence shows, was to divert attention and divert investigation from Fort Bliss and El Paso of criminal trafficking. And this includes the weapon trafficking and ammunition trafficking, along with the child porn and the child trafficking and everything. And of course, the narcotics and everything. I call it criminal trafficking because it really does include so much, even organ harvesting trafficking, which is like horrid to think. Um, and we're not allowed to get emotional, not yet, because we're so close to getting our son's remains back, and also um, getting accountability for those that did this to Richard. So, but so you have Representative Veronica Escobar absolutely now in the eyes of the new administration, um, for the violations that she has committed. What they might not know is that we had a soldier that was a witness that came forward and requested a congressional on Richard Halliday's case. So this was a Fort Bliss soldier that requested, not related to us, that requested a congressional in Richard Halliday's case, his murder case, his Code Red murder case. And Veronica Escobar did not do her duty to him. She has an obligation to do her duty, and she didn't. And so and of course, he even CID Quantico. I can tell you stories about that. And they shipped him out to Poland and everything. It was a big bullying thing, and they absolutely red flags went up again. It's another set of evidence that they failed. They had a failure of their duty of their position, and did not do what the American people have paid them to do in their position. And so, you know, so not only that, but also, we have the audios and the pictures and everything of Veronica Escobar saying, um, saying that she was going to get the FBI in on this and everything. And we have proof that the FBI interfered with our case and also with the Walmart mass shooting case. We have absolute proof confirming that Veronica Escobar um, interfered with our son's case over and over again. It's not just with this congressional; it's a lot of things, and we have it documented. And um, so, for the new borders are to pinpoint um, these politicians, these officials that are supposed to be doing their duty, and yet they are really doing quite the opposite and establishing this crime, this criminal network, and allowing them to operate and target not only Richard, not only our whistleblower witness, Judge Roger Rodriguez, not only our family, but also a duly elected district attorney, Yvonne Rosales, and her administration, um, to remove her and replace her. Um, you know, the crimes keep piling up and piling up and piling up. And not only did they interfere with her election, um, with the scheming, right? With the scheming, which we have hard evidence for, and we've put it up. But they also, in the orchestrated um, Walmart mass shooting, uh, to cover for the investigations, in our opinion. But fact is that they blamed MAGA, that they blamed President Trump for racism, a false accusation, because Patrick Crusius has no racism, and even his own. I mean, it's all on audio, and it's all clear. When he has this kind of self um, hurting uh, autism with along with severe mental health condition, the I don't know what you call it, the schizophrenia. Anyway, I don't know how to say it. I have to read it, but um, and he even said no, he doesn't, and it's just reported over and over again that his problems were so big, his mental problems were so big, he didn't have time to be racist. And of course, who wrote the manifesto then, right? Who wrote the manifesto? And then we have, of course, many, many witnesses that know that he um, was not the shooter, that there are shooters at large. And we have Austin now saying, oh yeah, Patrick Crusius didn't do this alone. And of course, when he surrendered himself to a Hispanic law enforcement officer. This is like minutes after he's supposed to have this racist rage. Give me a break. And the amount of time, the amount of bullets that had to be shot, and this is where I'm very grateful for my professional background in education, in special education, and early childhood education, because I can tell you right now that I know absolutely that autistic students, one of their major problems is their sensitivity. They have major sensitivities to hearing any kind of humming noises and things like that, like refrigerations and stuff, certain pitches and that. They have dexterity problems. They have fine motor coordination problems. Um, so in order to fire a weapon, in order to quickly change out a magazine of bullets or whatever, that takes great dexterity in that short amount of time. And, so the evidence shows, and of course, his shoes were clean and his pants were clean and his shirt was clean. There wasn't even sweat on it, and he wasn't even ruffled or anything when he surrendered himself. And remember what I said, we have witnesses that he surrendered himself twice. So then the whole timeline is in question. So this was just a very orchestrated, very deadly um, distraction from Richard's reporting, in our opinion, from Richard's whistleblowing reports. And now, with this new administration coming in and looking closely at these reports and knowing Richard's case and knowing the Walmart mass shooting case and knowing the violations by Representative Veronica Escobar and the El Paso FBI, Jesus Edioneto Jr. It's we're counting the days until Christmas, and then we're counting the days until January 20th. So, and hopefully, things can happen before that. Um, but there's another element. There's a lot of elements to this, but I think it's a very, very important element, and that is the Penny Hamilton element, the El Paso Criminal Law Magistrate Court. And I have to say this over and over again. It's kind of like this whole Nadal Bayim, when he came into the Dollar General store and said, yeah, the FBI found you can take down the flyers of Richard Halliday. It's over with, right? It's over with. The FBI found his remains um, in Juarez, Mexico, and he's dead. And then that's in October of 2020, right? And then we turn that in, and they're like, "Oh, he's nobody. He's just somebody following. It's a nobody." And we're like, "Wait a minute. What do you mean he's a nobody?" I mean, he said he's FBI. That means that if he's a nobody, then that means he's an imposter. FBI. That's breaking the law. Who is this guy? And then we find out his name is Nadal Baim. He's a Palestinian. He has a record for terroristic threats. Um, and, he has business there. And he is the father in law of Lieutenant Colonel Bradford Bugado in the G3 of the 32nd ADCOM right there in Fort Bliss. And he has connections with the Hart family. He has connection with the Mercedes cars. He has, he was bidding to give the El Paso Police Department up to $3 million in ammunition. What type of ammunition? Were they brown tip bullets? Were they green tip bullets? Because we heard, that is connected to the Walmart mass shooting also, these green tip and brown tip bullets. So, so it's kind of like something so we're reporting it and they're like covering up, covering up, covering up. And it's the same thing kind of like with Penny Hamilton. You think, oh, who is she? And how did she come into the picture of Richard? How did we find out about her? Well, she was the illegal individual that magistrated, pretended to be, was an imposter judge on the court, sabotaged the court, okay? She sabotaged the court, illegally sabotaged the court with the help of Sam Medrano, Judge Sam Medrano, okay? And magistrated illegally Patrick Cruces. But she also, that's not how she came on our radar. How she came on our radar is her being the one that issued the warrants and subpoenas in Richard's case, along with Judge Robert Shook. The JAG part. So you have the civilian and then you have the military. Um, and she sealed Richard's case. Why did she seal Richard's case? Why did Judge Robert Shook seal Richard's case? I mean, these are the things that we're hearing, and we put in open records. We want to know. Don't we have a right to know who is giving these warrants? I mean, there's like 70 subpoenas and warrants and subpoenas, right? I mean, just 70 of them. And probably more now. Who's doing that? And of course he's dead when you have all of that, because you have the whole chain of custody when it comes to his remains, and where I have evidence that they have his remains, at least partial remains, and we want his remains. But his remains are evidence, y'all. And that is really damning evidence, right? Because it's already been declared that he's been murdered on Fort Bliss. So this is a code red. This is international. This is about the criminal trafficking. This is about the illegal immigration, because Leilani Hart is a prime suspect in our son's murder. She tampered with Richard's file through her family member who she was giving sexual favors to. We have that confirmed. Through a CID family member, Tavita Nusa, an agent. And then he lost his badge. So, it's um and you have this immigration fraud and fraud to get U.S. benefits, and the same thing with Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia and Leilani Hart, who's a prime suspect in the murder of our son, because her son, Dallas Hart, was Richard's platoon leader. So, that's, if you're wondering, how did Richard see this stuff? Well, now you know why, right? Because he was the guidon bearer. My dad would say he's in the orderly room. If he's guidon bearer, he's in the orderly room. Um, and he sees things, he hears things. He's a guidon bearer. And so, and Richard was telling my dad different things and all of that. We have a very clear picture of what was going on. And then Leilani Hart on um, just when Richard was murdered, she also filed an affidavit against her own family. So I think she was trying to cover up for herself, and she was, explain, and she had it notarized, that they were engaged in the child corn business, and they were engaged in child corn, I should say. Maybe not the business, but we know that Dallas Hart was looking all over for the child corn. Um, and then, of course, the incest and the sexual assault of a 7-year-old in her master bedroom that she uh, reported not in a timely manner. And and then just all the illegal purchase of weapons, and there's all kinds of stuff in there, and we put it up, and I think it was taken down. We put it up, and how did we get it? Because how did we get the FBI number? How did we get the CID number, case number for her affidavit? Because she had it, because of her connections with CID agent Tavita Nusa. And she was flaunting it. She was flaunting it, and it got out into the community, and then that's how we got it. So, and she had the numbers. You don't get those numbers, okay? You have to have an inside person. You have to have access to the computer system in order to get those numbers. And so she was given through Tavita Nusa an authorized access, which is also illegal. And don't forget that the CID office submitted tampered photo to the Interpol for Richard's yellow Interpol notice. And that was another reason why we knew that everything that they were telling us about our son was a lie, because his Interpol was a yellow. And if he had been like involved in any kind of crime, or which they wanted to turn him into a criminal, right? They wanted to just deface him to the world so that nobody would care and nobody would remember our son. And but the Interpol spoke for itself, and they gave the Interpol a tampered photograph. Why is this a big deal? Because in order to um, look um, for a certain person, you would have to have a very good picture of that person for facial recognition. So the facial recognition application and search, when a person is going through a airport or a train station or any kind of port of entry internationally, they can pick up the facial recognition and locate that person. um, Giving a tampered photograph of Richard, which it wasn't Richard, it was Dallas Hart. Well, I don't know if it was Dallas Hart, but it really matched Dallas Hart's um, the numbers, the facial recognition um, app. It really matched him. It didn't match Richard at all. So, and that came from CID. So they were tampering. They were tampering with the investigation, and so was Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia. And these same immigration fraudsters, criminal immigration fraudsters, targeted the Walmart mass shooting case, targeted the district attorney. That was looking into the Walmart case, that was looking into the El Paso Community Foundation and the Walmart mass shooting victims funds that exceeded $12 million, y'all. It wasn't just a little money. It was exceeded $12 million. And so, and the fraudulent distribution of that was being investigated, and also Richard's case was being looked into. So um, it's it's all coming together when you have a fraudulent judge, or a fraud that is sabotaging the judicial system. And then you have another judge, Judge Medrano, that is, um, you know, making backroom deals to delay the Walmart mass shooting case, because any look into it, if there was like an actual trial hearing, everyone would know. Everybody would know the fraud. And so we have absolutely, as things come in, um, we are as transparent as we possibly can be. We just have some time constraints, right? Because, we're doing this and we just put out as soon as we can get something put out, we do it. Um, so we really, really are thankful during this uh, Thanksgiving season for all of the tips that we have gotten, for all of the help and all of the knowledge that we have gotten through this time. And we're over the target because we see where this group with Judge Medrano and Penny Hamilton and Leilani Hart and Joe Spencer and Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, with Veronica Escobar, with Eddie Nieto Jr., and many, in this criminal group, have acted to protect their illegal interests, which is substantial amounts of money, and very, very criminal. So we thank you so much, and we'll be uh, we're very grateful for the new border czar. We're really praying that he actually does what he's saying, because we've, it will just, um, it's just a story away. It's a report away. It's an arrest away. And I'm thinking, wouldn't it be? I always thought that Leilani Hart would be the first one to be arrested in this case. Um, if not, maybe some others have been, like Jay Paulin, like Michael Ruggiero, like, Dallas Hart. Maybe they've already been arrested. Maybe Tavita Nusa has been arrested. Things have been sealed. So there's been deals and seals, seals and deals. And, but wouldn't it be something to see Veronica Escobar get arrested and Jesus Nieto Jr. arrested? They absolutely are deserving of that. And I would say that the crimes in this case, which is Richard's Code Red murder case and the very bloody Walmart mass shooting case, and all the crimes surrounding it, and the allowance of this immigration fraud to allow all of this to happen, because the immigration is why you have election tampering, and because of the criminal trafficking, the billions of dollars made from it and everything like that. And it really does create a lot of political tampering and election tampering and judicial tampering and more crimes, including all the money laundering and everything like that. So, yeah, but wouldn't it be something if they were arrested, and I would say that their crimes are so severe that the death penalty needs to be on the table. It is absolutely, the crimes are worthy of the death penalty. Um, if not these crimes, there isn't any other crimes. When you're talking about 300,000 mostly dead children that were exploited, that were unaccompanied, had nobody, y'all. Um, yeah, these are worthy of the death penalty. And so I just want to thank everybody and make sure that you pass this along, that you share this along, and we will be back tomorrow. It's not too late tonight. I mean, it's pretty late every night. But anyway, um, but yeah, share this. It's still a little bit early. Share this, and I hope everyone has a very blessed Sunday. Um, yeah, and if you haven't been to church in a while, I'd really recommend it. I'd recommend it during these times to have some direction, to have some foundation, um, in order. It's it's just amazing, how I didn't really realize all of that church going, all of the Bible studies from years and years, how they would absolutely prepare us for the assaults, the retaliation, um, the um, betrayal that we have faced in these last 4 years, and that has allowed us to keep going in order uh, to know that it's all in God's perfect timing. And voila, in April of 2024, we received the official declaration of death for Richard, and the paperwork proved that he was murdered on Fort Bliss. And um, and now we want his remains. Now we want his remains, and we want accountability for those that did this to him. So thank you so much. God bless you, and I will be back